press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello everyone, welcome you all once again for the class complex numbers and quadratic equations. In the last session we were talking about some JEE related points. I mean the points, some important points or formulae which are going to be helpful for CET as well as JEE. Okay, now let's continue the same thing. Now let's move to the properties of arguments. Okay, the first property is argument of Z1 into Z2 for any two complex numbers Z1 into Z1 and Z2. Argument of product of these two is equal to argument of Z1 plus argument of Z2. Okay. So let me verify this by taking examples. Before that, let me write one more. Argument of Z1 by Z2 is equal to argument of Z1 minus argument of Z2. Okay. This is also a second property, an important one. Next one. Argument of conjugate of a complex number is equal to minus of argument of that complex number, and that also equal to argument of its multiplicative inverse. Both are, I mean all are equal. And the next one is argument of z power of n is equal to n into argument of z. For all n belongs to rationals. It's the most important results. Okay. So now let me verify these properties. I am going to verify first one or second one. So students, you can verify by taking any of the examples. Okay. Now let me verify. For that I am going to take Z1 as root 3 plus I and Z2 as 1 plus I root 3. Okay. Now let me verify first one. Let's find Z1 to Z2 the first. Z1 into Z2 is given by AC minus BD, okay, plus I into AD, root 3 into root 3, that is 3, plus BC. So you get students 0 plus I4, 0 plus I4. Okay. Now argument of this is what? Argument of I4 is equal to what actually? It is purely imaginary and it is on positive y axis. Yes, argument is plus pi by 2. Okay. Yesterday, I mean in the last class, we have discussed about this argument of a complex number when it is on positive y axis, it is pi by 2. Okay. Now argument of Z1 is, what happens to argument of Z1? Argument of Z1 is tan inverse of y by x, that is 1 by root 3. That is what? Y by 6. 30. The argument of Z2 is what? Argument of Z2 is again tan inverse of, both are in, all are in first quadrant, so I can take directly the values, root 3 by 1, that is what? Pi by 3. So pi by 6 plus pi by 3, so 60 plus 30, that becomes 90. So this is what first one. First one is verified. And the second one is also same as before. Second one, students, this is left to you. Very simple. Instead of finding Z1 into Z2, find Z1 by Z2. Z1 by Z2. Anyway, argument of Z1 and argument of Z2 we have here. Okay. Find these two. Z1 by Z2 you find the argument of that and you get the same thing. And come to third one. See, for any complex number, argument of its conjugate is always is equal to negative of the argument of the same complex number, and that is also equal to argument of its reciprocal. So, let me verify this by taking an example. Let z is equal to 1 plus I root 3. 1 plus I root 3. Okay, let us find argument of z. Argument of z is what actually? Argument of z is tan inverse of root 3, that is what? Pi by, yes, pi by 60 now, tan 60, pi by 3. Okay, tan pi by 3, I mean is root 3, therefore tan 60 is root 3, therefore tan inverse of root 3 is pi by 3. And now argument of z we have, then minus of argument of z. Before that, argument of z bar, let us find z bar becomes what actually? So, this becomes z bar is 1 minus I root 3, right? So, same tan inverse of minus root 3 by 1, that is equal to again pi by 3. But observe here students, here x coordinate is positive, y coordinate is negative. You mean it is in fourth quadrant. So, therefore, your argument becomes. So, this is what alpha. Therefore, argument of z bar becomes minus pi by 3. See, argument of z is pi by 3, then argument of z bar is minus of pi by 3. That is what I written, minus of argument of z. And let me find argument of 1 by z. So, what is 1 by z actually? 1 by z is given by z bar divided by modulus of whole square. Z bar is what? 1 minus I root 3. So, modulus of z whole square root of 1 square plus root 3 whole square, that is what? 4. Same thing you get, or you can write this as 1 by 4 minus I into root 3 by 4. So, then alpha is tan inverse of root 3 by 4 divided by 1 by 4. Again you get tan inverse of root 3, that is pi by 3. But students, this is the complex number corresponds to a point 1 by 4 comma minus 3 root 3 by 4, I mean positive negative, again fourth quadrant. So, it becomes negative. So, theta argument becomes minus. Argument of 1 by z is minus 1 by 3. Yes, argument of z bar is minus pi by 3 minus argument of z, that is minus argument of z is pi by 3, that is equal to argument of 1 by z, that is minus pi by 3. So, it is the most important result. Students, you can verify this by taking any examples, by taking any other examples, okay. So, one more thing, that is argument of z power of n. It's also very simple. Let me take the same example. Z is equal to one plus I root 3. So, whole square. Argument of z is what? Argument of z is root 3 by 1, that is tan inverse of root 3 by 1, that is pi by 3. Argument of z is pi by 3. Now, I am going to find z square. This n is 2 here. Z square becomes what? A plus b whole square, a square plus b square, I mean I root 3 whole square, that is minus 3 plus I into 2 root 3. So, you get what? Minus 2 plus I into 2 root 3. So, argument of z square. So, before that alpha is equal to tan inverse of 2 root 3 by minus 2 2 root 3 by minus 2, again you get pi by 3. But students, this is a complex number corresponds to what? Second quadrant, right? So x quantity is negative, y quantity is positive. Therefore, in second quadrant, your argument becomes what? Theta is equal to pi minus alpha. So that is pi minus alpha is pi by 3. So you get 3 pi minus pi, that is 2 pi by 3. Yes. Now you observe here n into argument of z. N is what actually? 2. So 2 into argument of z, that is 2 pi by 3. 2 pi by 3. 2 times of pi by 3. N times of argument of z. I consider n is square. That's it. So this is also important. Okay. So these are all important properties related to argument of z. So now let's look at some other properties, other points. So we call it as De Moivre's theorem. De Moivre's theorem. De Moivre's theorem. We call it as De Moivre's theorem. It says if n is an integer, then cos theta plus I sin theta whole power of n is equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta. Observe here n theta. You mean n will be multiplied with theta. This is what De Moivre's theorem. De Moivre says that cos theta plus I sin theta whole power of n for any integer n, it becomes cos n theta plus I sin n theta. It's the most important result. We call it as De Moivre's theorem. Suppose if n is a fraction, then one of the values of cos theta plus I sin theta power of n is cos n theta plus I sin n theta. So when n is a fraction, then one of the values of this becomes this, cos n theta plus I sin n theta. It's the most important result. And some more results we have. One is 1 by cis theta. Cis theta means cos theta plus I sin theta is always is equal to cos theta minus I sin theta. It's the most important result. Or 1 by sin theta plus I cos theta becomes sin theta minus I cos theta. These are also the important results. Next. Next result is if x plus 1 by x is 2 cos theta. That's an important result we have. X plus 1 by x is 2 cos theta. Then x becomes cos theta plus or minus I sin theta. Any one of these two. And x power of n plus 1 by x power of n becomes 2 cos n theta, and x power of n minus 1 by x power of n becomes 2 I into sin n theta. It's also an important result we are going to use in JEE. Next, Euler's form. Euler's form is given by e power of I theta. Euler form of a complex number is same as cos theta plus I sin theta. E power of minus I theta is same as cos theta minus I sin theta. This is we call as Euler's form. And therefore and therefore cos theta is e power of I theta plus e power of minus I theta whole divided by 2, and sin theta is e power of I theta minus e power of minus I theta by 2. Okay. So these are some results. So after this, one more important thing is about the locus of z. Locus in the sense position of the point z, I mean position of a moving point. Okay. So let's write, let if z is a variable point and z1 and z2 are fixed points in the organoid plane. Fixed points in the organoid plane. Fixed points in the organoid plane. Then the first point is if z minus z1 equal to z minus z2. If z minus z1 is equal to z minus z2, then locus of z is yes, perpendicular bisector. Locus of z is a perpendicular bisector of the line joining z1 and z. Whenever this happens, whenever this is true, then locus, I mean z lies on the perpendicular bisector of the line joining two complex numbers z1 and z. It is the most important result. And the second one is if z minus z1 plus z minus z2 is equal to some constant k, then locus of z is an ellipse. Locus of z is an, I mean z lies on an ellipse. Students, you remember we discussed about organoid plane. In an organoid plane, in the sense what? It's a plane, 2D plane, in which a complex number can be represented geometrically. I mean a complex number can be located anywhere in the plane, right? That's what I am discussing. Whenever this happens, that z lies on ellipse. That's it. And next one, if z minus z1 plus z minus z2 is equal to minus, you take minus, I mean difference of these two is equal to k, then locus of z is hyperbola. Hope you are familiar in hyperbola, parabola, ellipse, right? If you don't know, we will discuss in the next class, I mean in the future classes about hyperbola, parabola and so on. If fourth point, if z minus z1 plus z minus z2 is equal to z1 minus z2. Whenever this happens, then your locus of point is, locus of z is on the line segment joining z1 and z2. It is on the line segment joining between z1 and z2. If it happens, then the locus of z is on the line segment joining between z1 and z2. And if we see, if z minus z1 minus z minus z2 is equal to Z1 minus Z2, then the locus of Z is a straight line joining between Z1 and Z2, but Z doesn't lie between Z1 and Z2. Straight line between Z1 and Z2, but Z doesn't lie on the line joining Z1 and Z2. Okay, so these are some important results, and one more result we have. Z minus Z1 is equal to some K into Z minus Z2. If K is not equal to 1, then the locus of Z is a circle. Locus of Z is a circle. Okay, so these are some other important results. Apart from this, we have some more results. Students, proof of all these results is not required, and it takes more time to prove all these things. For the purpose of JEE, just you remember these. But you have to work out problems related to these, then only you will be able to understand these, and also you will be able to remember. Okay, next one. Next point is, if argument of Z minus Z1 divided by Z minus Z2 is equal to some alpha, some fixed number. We will get some fixed number. Then the locus of a point Z, locus of Z is a segment of a circle. Locus is a segment of a circle. Segment of a circle. Okay. Next, if it is, if argument of Z minus Z1 by Z minus Z2 is plus or minus pi by 2, then your argument is the circle, then your locus is the circle whose Z1 and Z2 are extremities of the diameter. Circle whose Z1 and Z2 are the extremities of the diameter, end point of the diameter. Suppose if the value is 0 or pi, then the locus is a straight line passing through Z1 and Z2. Okay, these are some important results. We have many results related to JEE Mains as well as JEE Advanced. We will discuss in the future classes. So now let's move to one more important concept for for the purpose of CET as well as JEE. That is about cube roots of unity as well as nth root of unity. Cube root of unity as well as nth root of unity. Yes, we have found square roots of unity in the last class, in the previous class. Now let us find cube roots of unity. Yes, yes. Now, yes, I am finding cube roots of unity. X is equal to 1 power of 1 by 3. For what value of x? These two become same. I am finding the roots of x. I am finding the roots of this equation. Solution of this equation. And this is same as x is equal to, x cube is 1, right? For what value of x? RHS becomes 1. We have seen square roots, right? Plus or minus 1. But what happens to cube roots of unity? So, I can write this as x cube minus 1 cube is equal to 0. You mean a cube minus b cube is 0. Let us expand this. A cube minus b cube is what? A minus b into a square plus b square plus ab. Okay. This implies x is equal to 1 and x square plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. There is a real root, a single real root we have, that is x equal to 1. Let me solve this. This is a quadratic equation in which b square minus 4ac is less than 0. So, x is equal to minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac by 2a. So, you get what? Minus 1 plus or minus I root 3 by 2. You mean you have two roots, that is minus 1 by 2 plus I root 3 by 2, or one more is minus 1 by 2 minus I root 3 by 2. So, these two are another roots of this cubic equation and these two are complex roots. Observe here, these two are conjugate to each other. And one more thing, if you take this one as omega and this becomes omega square, you can check it. If you square this, you get the same thing, or if you square that, you get the same thing. So, if you consider one as omega, one becomes omega square. And one more thing is, these two are reciprocals to each other and conjugate to each other. Yes, they are conjugate to each other as well as reciprocals. And one more thing, if you square one of these two, you get the same thing. If you square this, you get this. If you square this, if you square this, you get this. If you square this, you get this. Therefore, if I take 1 as omega, 1 becomes omega square. Therefore, the cube roots of unity are given by 1 omega square. These are the cube roots of unity. So, the properties are like this. If you add all the 3 roots, you will get 0. And if you multiply all these 3 roots, you get 1. So, omega cube is 1. It is very important result, students. Sum of all the roots becomes 0 and omega. You can verify this. 1 plus this, add these 3, you will get 0. And multiply these 3, you get omega cube, that is equal to 1. So, one more result we have, related to this. 1 plus omega power of n plus omega power of 2n has 2 values. 3 if n is a multiple of 3 and 0 if n is not a multiple of 3. N is not a multiple of 3. So, it's a standard result. Okay, anyway, you have got 3 roots of, 3 cube roots of unity. And one more thing. So, these 3 roots are the vertices of a triangle inscribed in a circle of unit radius. See, one of the roots is 1, so I am going to take 1 as here. So, one more is minus 1 by 2 plus 3 root by 2. So, amplitude of this is what? Yes, you get 2 pi by 3. So, somewhere you get here 2 pi by 3. And another one is the conjugate of this. Therefore, you get here conjugate is mirror image of or x axis, that is what, minus I root 3 by 2. This is minus 1 by 2 plus I root 3 by 2. So, and the angle is again this is 2 pi by 3. So, total angle becomes 4 pi by 3. Now, let us join these, you will get an equilateral triangle. Equilateral, so anyway you get a regular polygon. Okay. So, this is what about cube roots of unity. In the same way, let me find the fourth root of unity. Students, you remember this omega value minus 1 by 2 plus I root 3 by 2 minus 1 by 2 minus I root 3 by 2. These two are the complex roots, omega and omega square. One more real root is 1. These are cube roots of unity, and this is important result. Now, let me find the fourth root of unity. This is going to be helpful for the JEE mains as well as advanced. So, here fourth root of unity, let x be the fourth root of unity, that is what, 1 power of 1 by 4, this gives x power of 4 is equal to 1. If I solve this, what do you get? X power of 4 minus 1 power of 4 is equal to 0, that is what, x square plus 1 into x square minus 1 equal to 0. So, you get what, x is equal to plus or minus 1 as well as plus or minus I. Okay. Discussed this in the last class, right? I mean, there are 4 roots. One is plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 and plus I and minus I. In case of cube roots of unity, we have 1 omega square. So, these roots can be represented in terms of Euler form. One can be written as cos 0 plus I sin 0, and second one omega, that is what, minus 1 by 2 plus I root 3 by 2. I can write this as cos 2 pi by 3 plus I sin 2 pi by 3. Okay, you mean argument is 2 pi by 3, and one more is minus 1 by 2 minus I root 3 by 2, that can be written as cos 4 pi by 3 plus I sin 4 pi by 3. There is amplitude is, argument is 4 pi by 3 in this case. Now, here we have 4 roots, right, plus or minus 1 and plus or minus I. Therefore, 1 plus 1 can I write as x is equal to 1, I can write as, complex number is cos 0 plus I sin 0. Second one is minus 1, that is what, cos pi plus I sin pi. And third one is plus I is what, cos I means, what is the argument of I, that is pi by 2, therefore pi by 2 plus I sin pi by 2. And the last one is minus I. So, your argument becomes 3 pi by 2. So, the cos 3 pi by 2 plus I sin 3 pi by 2. So, I can rewrite these as cos 0 plus I sin 0, I sin 0 for the first root, that in cos pi plus, I am going to write this as second. So, cos 2 pi by 4 plus I sin 2 pi by 4. I can write this as 2 pi by 4, pi by test 2 pi by 4. And third one I am going to write this as this one cos pi, that is what, cos 4 pi by 4 plus I sin 4 pi by 4. And last one 3 pi by 2 I am going to write as cos 6 pi by 4 plus I sin 6 pi by 4. Observe here students, when we have cube roots of unity, at the denominator you get 3. 2 pi by 3, 2 pi by 3, 4 pi by 3, 4 pi by 3, 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi and so on. Like this here also. 4 because it is fourth root of unity. So 2 pi by 4, 4 pi by 4, 6 pi by 4 like this. In the same way, I can write for any root of unity, nth root of unity also. So for nth root of unity, so if you take these in a circle, if I consider these roots in a circle, so now here the first root is 1, so this is radius, unit circle of radius 1, so the first thing is 1 and here you get minus 1 and this is I because amplitude is pi by 2 and this is minus I, so amplitude is as 3 by 2, 3 pi by 2, okay. When you join these, again you get a regular polygon like this, okay. So now let's move to nth root of unity. What happens to nth root of unity? So from this you can conclude for any root of unity, for nth root or fifth root or sixth root, so we have a general result that is what in Euler form I can write this one as e power of I into 2k pi by n, okay, 2 pi k by n, because by using the previous results, okay. For nth root of unity, I may get x is equal to 1 power of 1 by n, you mean x power of n is equal to 1. This gives what? X is what? X is what? Cos theta, cos, I can write this as cos 2k pi plus I sin 2k pi whole power of n. So using De Moivre's theorem, this becomes what? Cos 2k pi by n plus I sin 2k pi by n. This is your x, x power of n. Because x power of n is equal to 1, then x is equal to 1 power of 1 by n, therefore you get this, okay, x equal to 2k pi by n plus I into sin 2k pi by n. Now the thing is, this is true for k is equal to 0, 1, 2 and so on till n minus 1, okay. So now if k is 0, so now if k is 0, you get the first root as 0, 1, e power of 0, you get 1. If k is 1, you get e power of, so what happens? E power of 2 pi I into 2 pi by n. And if k is 2, e power of 4 pi by n, and so on. At last, if k is n minus 1, you get e power of I into 2 into n minus 1 into pi by n. Okay. So observe here, students, this is 1, if we take this one as alpha, and this becomes alpha square and so on, alpha power of n minus 1, okay. So now these are in GP actually. If you find, if you add all these things, sum of the roots becomes 1 plus alpha square and so on, alpha power of n minus 1 becomes 0, sum of roots is 0. So if you consider this in a circle of unit radius, what do you get? First one is 1, this is here, and second one is e power of 2 pi by 1, so you get here amplitude is 2 pi by n, so e power of I into 2 pi by n, and next one is, second one is the 4 pi by n, that is what e power of I, 4 pi by n. In the same way, I power of e power of I 6 pi by n, and so on. So if you draw like this, students, so you get what a regular polygon for n sides. Okay, this is the significance of the nth root of unity. So now you can easily find the nth root of unity by taking this result. So e power of I into 2 pi k by n, where n denotes nth root of unity for all these k values. K is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 till n minus 1. Hope you got it, right? Okay. So this is about nth root of unity. Okay, now let's look at some other properties that, see, sum of roots we have seen, that is what is equal to 0. So sum of the roots is 1 plus alpha square and so on, alpha power of n minus 1 is equal to 0. What about the product of roots? If n is even, then your product becomes product of roots is equal to minus 1 whole power of n minus 1. If n is odd, then your product becomes 1. Product of all the roots, nth root of unity become 1. Okay. Okay, students, now let me write one more points. Area of triangle, this is the result that area of triangle formed by the complex number z, iz, z plus iz is given by half into modulus of z whole square units. It's a standard result. In the same way, so some other points are like this. So real part of z is always is equal to greater than or equal to minus of mod z less than or equal to mod z, and imaginary part also, imaginary part of z is always greater than or equal to minus of mod z less than or equal to plus mod z. So some other results are like this. If z1 plus z2, modulus of z1 plus z2 is equal to modulus of z1 plus modulus of z2, then it is always true that argument of z1 becomes equal to argument of z2. So one more property is, if z1 plus z2 is equal to modulus of z1 minus z2, then argument of z1 minus argument of z2 is equal to pi by 2. It's the most important result. And the last one is, if z1, z2, z3, if all the three complex numbers are collinear, what do you mean by collinear? If they are in the same line, then argument of Z3 minus Z1 divided by Z2 minus Z1 becomes equal to 0. Okay students, these are some important results, some important points which are going to be helpful for the CET as well as JEE. Students, be careful about these things. Please verify these if you have time. I verified some of the results, but we have no time to verify all the things, all the results. Okay, it is not possible to verify all the results, therefore just you look at the results and make sure in these results. So these are going to be helpful for the purpose of JEE. Okay, and don't neglect these things. They are very important, because as I said before, the chapter complex number is very simple, but when it comes to JEE or when it comes to CET, it will be difficult. Okay, so that students, you have to be careful. In case of JEE as well as CET. But before that, you to be perfect. You have to perfect in the in the concept of complex numbers first. Okay, so this is what about complex numbers as well as some important points related to JEE. Thank you very much. See you in the next class.